A very good morning, students. In the last session, we have discussed the different points for the purpose of auditing, or we can say that the organizing of audit work. Now, in that, we have completed till 5 points. Till keeping audit notebook. Now, today we are going to discuss the remaining 2 points. પ્રીવિયસ સેશનમાં એક ઇસ્યુ થયો હતો કે તમને 3 સ્લાઇડ તમે જોઈ શકતા હતા. દેટ ઇઝ ફ્રેમિંગ ઓડિટ પ્રોગ્રામ. જે રિમેનિંગ 2 પોઈન્ટ્સ છે એનું એક્સપ્લેનેશન મેં તમને ઓરલી આપેલું હતું. તો આજે આપણો સેશન આપણે સ્ટાર્ટ કરીએ છીએ. પહેલાં ખાલી 2 જે પોઈન્ટ્સ આપણે ખાલી ઓરલી ડિસ્કસ કરેલા હતા એનું કન્ટેન હું અહીંયા તમને પ્રોવાઈડ કરું છું, એન્ડ દેટ ઇઝ ટુ બી રીડ બાય મી. Yes, the division of work amongst audit assistants. When the auditor is going to divide the whole work of audit between their assistants, between their co-workers, that process is known as division of work among audit assistants. As we already discussed that it is not possible for any single auditor that is to carry the whole audit work single-handed. Yes, they need the few hands who can help them for the verifications and valuations of books of accounts. That is already discussed in the last session. Now I am going to read the point. For smooth and efficient conduct of any audit, the next step is to properly allocate the work among the audit assistants. One thing should, however, be kept in mind that despite all these preparations and precautions, the ultimate responsibility of any audit is that of auditor himself. Ultimately, auditor is responsible for the whole audit work, despite the work is divided between their assistants, but ultimately the responsibility is of auditor. For the work carried out by his assistants, the auditor is liable to the client, and hence this important point has always to be given due consideration while framing audit program. Now, when auditor is going to frame the whole audit task, that which accounts is to be audited, how they are going to audit the books of accounts, which standard they are going to follow, they are going to maintain, that is to be decided by the auditor. But at that point of time, here again auditor is going to decide the members or his assistants through which he is going to carry the work of audit. So here, at the time of framing the audit program, auditor need to clear at the time of organizing the audit work that which assistant is going to perform which duty. So he must be clear about the whole task which is to be followed by auditor at the time of audit work. Then after audit notebook, it always happens that while actual audit work is going on, there arise certain points and important queries which are to be noted down, and that points need the further explanation as far as the task of audit is concerned. So for that reason, auditor is preparing a notebook. The points are noted in a book or a register, which is known as audit notebook or audit note. So that's all about our audit notebook. Now the next point, that is auditor's working papers. Now in accounts, you are preparing working notes for your calculation. In the same manner, organization, again auditor is preparing working papers which support the main task of audit. So working paper is prepared by the person who is going to check the books of accounts, and through these working papers, auditor is able to prepare the audit report. Yes, finally it is a duty of an auditor, that is to prepare the main audit report, and that audit report is presented in AGM. In annual general meeting, auditor is going to present an audit report, and that audit report is prepared with the help of audit notebook and working papers. Generally, working papers are the personal property of an auditor. Now, organization is not in a position to claim an auditor that to submit the working papers to me. Whatever the work is done by the auditor, that is the personal property of him. So now, auditor has total right for his working paper, and he can use this working paper for his future reference. Now, again I am going to repeat myself that organization does not have any right in auditor's working paper. The working papers are personal property of any auditor. Now in accounts, when you are going to calculate any sum, the format of the sum is same for each and every one, but the working notes that you are preparing, that is your own property. No one is going to claim your working notes. Same manner, the same rule is applicable in this. Now here it is given that working papers are those papers in which the data are recorded important details during the course of audit work by the auditor. Here auditor is going to record the data at the time of doing audit. The term working paper designed the file of analysis, summaries, comments and correspondence built up by him during the course of field work of an audit engagement. The auditor should preserve the file, important papers which he comes across during courses of his audit work, which may useful to him in the future. Here, auditor can use the working paper in the future references when he is going to carry the work of audit in the same organization. Now, in working papers, an auditor includes his audit program, agreement with the clients and the appointment letter, details of explanations and information given by the client and other documentary evidence. Then after, papers relating to internal system, multiplications and other calculation done by the auditor and balances of important ledgers accounts. Means whatever calculation is done by an auditor, the auditor claim it as a personal property of auditor. Then after, the list of debtors, creditors and other dealers who are the main responsible parties of the organization. An auditor also include the calculation of depreciation, stock and summary of other adjustment entries. Then after, he also includes the queries during the work of audit. And other matters he is going to use at the time of auditing. So these are the auditor's working papers. Then after, the next point and the last point, that is audit procedure, or we can say that determination of audit procedure. Here, auditor is explaining the whole audit process step by step, that how he is going to audit the books of accounts in the particular organization. When the process of anything is to be framed, then the person who is going to prepare the process need to follow the process in a proper manner. So, when auditor decide the audit procedure, then it is mandatory for an auditor, that is to follow the whole audit process in a proper manner. Basically, there is no fixed steps that involved in any audit procedure. But here, a kind of blueprint is prepared by the auditor, that how he is going to commence the work of audit in the particular organization. There cannot be fixed or predetermined procedure for carry out audit work. The procedure depends upon facts and situations of each type of audit. The following matters should be considered while determining the audit procedure. Means things which an auditor is follow at the time of audit task. Basically, there are 4 processes through which the whole audit task is carried out. Under that, the first one, use of appropriate tick marks. Then after second, routine checking. Then after third, test checking or sample checking. And then after fourth, that is surprise checking. The first one, that is use of appropriate tick marks. સિમ્પલ એક્ઝામ્પલ આપું છું. તમે જ્યારે પણ એક્ઝામિનેશનના પોઈન્ટ ઓફ વ્યૂથી રીડ કરો છો કોઈ પણ મટીરિયલ, કોઈ પણ બુક્સ, એટ ધેટ ટાઈમ યુ આર પુટિંગ સમ ટિક માર્ક્સ. તમારી જ બુક હશે, તમારો કરેલો ટિક માર્ક હશે, દેન you come to know that what is the purpose of the tick mark. જે ક્વેશ્ચન્સ રિપીટલી યુનિવર્સિટીમાં પૂછાય છે તો એ ક્વેશ્ચન્સમાં આપણે મોસ્ટ આઈએમપી અથવા ડબલ ટિક અથવા એને સ્ટારની ટિક માર્ક આપીએ છીએ. સેમ પ્રોસેસ ઓડિટર ફોલો કરે છે કે જ્યારે એ કોઈ પણ બુક્સ ઓફ અકાઉન્ટ્સને વેરીફાઈડ કરશે. કોઈ જ નવું પોઈન્ટ અહીંયા આપણે ડિસ્કસ નથી કરતા. ઓલરેડી જે આપણે અત્યારે આપણા બુક્સ ઓફ સ્ટડીમાં કરીએ છીએ સેમ ઓડિટર એના બુક્સ ઓફ અકાઉન્ટ્સમાં ફોલો કરશે. આઈ એમ રીડિંગ ધ કન્ટેન્ટ. The tick marks are put before items or transactions that have been checked. જે ચેક થયેલા છે એની સામે ટ્રાન્ઝેક્શન્સ ઓર આઇટમ્સની સામે they are putting the tick marks. The items which remain unticked denotes that they have to be not checked by the auditor. So, tick mark shows that the item or the transactions checked in a proper manner, and the items which do not have any kind of tick marks means the verifications and valuation is remaining. Now, tick mark should be small and clear. પ્રોપર સાઇઝનો ટિક માર્ક આપણે અલાઉ કરવાનો છે. ખૂબ જ મોટા ટિક માર્ક હશે then it is difficult and it is very problematic to find out the real purpose of tick mark. Then after, tick mark should be put by color pencil or ink. Sometimes auditor use the different colors for the different purpose. Then after, different tick mark should be used for different purpose. The tick marks should be changed every year. Now auditor allows his staff that is to verify the different tick marks, but the staff or the client are not allowed to put the same tick marks which is put it by the auditor. So that is about the use of appropriate tick marks. The second one, that is routine checking. Routine checking is nothing but the common checking in which the organization is checking each and every books of accounts of his client. So the normal process of auditing is known as routine checking. There is nothing new in this routine checking. So I am simply reading the contents. The checking of original entries is called routine checking, and that checking is that entries are the journal entries. This includes checking of sales book with upward invoice, purchase book with inward invoice, cash book with cash vouchers, and so on. So similar transactions is to be checked with the similar books of accounts. Now the location of errors become possible by detailed checking of such original records or by routine checking. Normally, the complete routine checking is not possible in the big organization, in which the numbers of transactions are large. And in this routine checking, no additional knowledge, no additional experience is required to carry the work of routine checking. Normally, the assistants or the junior clerks are performing the work of routine checking. So again, in a nutshell, we can say that routine checking, that is the checking of journals, sales book, purchase book, cash book, and other subsidiary books. So it is about the routine checking. Then after, the third point, that is test checking, or we can say that sample checking. Now in this test checking or sample checking, the auditor is not going to check the each and every transactions, each and every datas of the organization. Here they are checking the particular transactions or the particular books of accounts for his future purpose. Now routine checking is useful for those organizations in which the numbers of transactions are very large. When routine checking is not possible, at that time organization is going to carry the test checking. Routine checking is not possible in all types of business undertaking. Instead, some selected transactions are checked in detail. This is called test checking or sample checking. Generally, test checking is the checking of selected items. When you are going to check the transactions, the data of the selected items, so that checking will be known as test checking. Now, it is not possible for an auditor, that is, to examine each and every transactions of the business, and hence he selects some representative or important items and examines them in detail. So, in test checking, they are checking the selected items, but that checking must be in a proper detail. So, the purpose of checking is generalized. So, that is about the test checking. Now, the last one, that is surprise checking. As we all know that the surprise visit and the surprise checking. સેશન ચાલુ હોય અને ડ્યુરિંગ ધ સેશન અચાનક જ કોઈ ફેકલ્ટી અટેન્ડન્સ લીએ, ફિઝિકલ અટેન્ડન્સ, સો દેટ ઇઝ ધ સરપ્રાઇઝ ચેકિંગ that how many students are there in the classroom. You all are very well aware about the surprise checking. I am not going to explain in detail about the surprise checking. Now the same thing happens in the organization. When organization appoints an auditor for the auditing task, so the auditor knows each and everything that how he is going to examine the different books of accounts, and at the end of the year the organization prepare each and every data in a proper manner. But now auditor wants to know the real position of the books of accounts. So sometimes auditor give the surprise visit to his client and checking the actual positions of the books of accounts. So that checking is known as surprise checking. Now, it is given that when the auditor visits the client's office without previous intimation and undertakes checking, that process is known as surprise checking. The main object of surprise checking is to ascertain whether internal control system is satisfactory or not. Another object is to verify that employees have not embezzled cash or goods. Thus, with the help of surprise checking, the auditor is able to know or able to examine the real picture of working culture of the organization. So through surprise checking, auditor comes to know about the working style of the business unit or the clients he is approaching. So that's all about today's session. I hope you all are clear about the points. Tomorrow we are going to learn the points that to be kept in mind at the time of new audit. So that will be done later on. Till now, we are ending our session. Thank you. Thank you so much.